The Galactic Concord station floated like a silver city in the black of space. Inside, aliens from 47 worlds gathered for the biological symposium. Dr. Ji-Eun Park, a human biologist, stepped off her shuttle, her boots clicking on the smooth floor. She adjusted her simple gray suit, feeling the weight of eyes on her. Tae-Soo Kim, her aide, walked beside her, carrying a tablet with their presentation. Ji-Eun's heart beat fast, but she kept her face calm. Humans were new here, and nobody thought much of them. The symposium hall buzzed with strange voices. Crystal and Varketh, their bodies sparkling like glass, stood tall. Sirens, with glowing eyes and telepathic minds, floated slightly above the ground. Other species, furred, scaled, or armored, filled the room. Ji-Eun noticed their stares. Some whispered, their words sharp. Soft humans, a Varketh rumbled. No claws, no shells. Weak. A Siren's voice hummed in her mind. Short lives. Fragile. Ji-Eun ignored them. She had a job to do. She and Tae-Soo set up at a small booth. Their screen showed images of humans running healing cuts, sweating under hot suns. Ji-Eun's presentation was simple. Humans were tough in their own way. They could run for hours, heal from wounds, adapt to heat or cold. Tae-Soo tapped the tablet, nervous. "They're not listening," he whispered. Ji-Eun nodded but stayed focused. She believed in her work. The symposium began. A Varketh speaker, Dong-Hyun Choi, boasted about his people's crystal lungs which needed little air. The crowd clapped, their sounds like chimes or hisses. A Siren Hirin Lee spoke next, explaining how her kind shared thoughts across stars. More cheers. When Ji-Eun's turn came, she stood tall, her voice steady. "Humans have no armor," she said, "but we endure. Our bodies heal fast. We sweat to cool down. We run longer than most." She showed a video of a human marathon runner, drenched but smiling. The crowd was silent. A Varketh laughed, loud and sharp. "You break too easily," Dong-Hyun said. Hye-Rin's mind voice echoed. Curious, but not enough. Ji-Eun's cheeks burned, but she didn't argue. She sat down, her hands tight. Tae-Soo leaned close. "They'll see," he said. She nodded, unsure. The symposium moved on, species after species showing off. Ji-Eun watched, taking notes. She noticed Hye-Rin glancing her way, her glowing, eyes curious. Maybe not everyone doubted humans. Then a loud bang shook the hall. Lights flickered. A heavy door slammed shut, sealing the chamber. Gasps and cries filled the air. A voice crackled over the speakers. "System failure. Oxygen dropping." Panic spread. Varketh pounded the door, their fists sparking. Sirens huddled, their minds buzzing with fear. Other aliens shouted or slumped, already dizzy. Ji-Eun's chest tightened, but she closed her eyes, breathing slow. She knew human lungs. She could handle this. "Tae-Soo," she whispered. "Stay calm." Shallow breaths. He nodded, copying her. Ji-Eun looked around. The Varketh were strong, but needed more air than they thought. Their crystal lungs wheezed. The Sirens, so smart, were panicking, their thoughts loud and messy. Ji-Eun's mind raced. She had to act. She tore a strip from her jacket and tied it over her nose and mouth. It wasn't much, but it might filter the stale air. Tae-Soo did the same, his eyes wide but trusting. Ji-Eun stood, ignoring her pounding heart. She moved to Hye-Rin, who was trembling. "Breathe slow," Ji-Eun said. Hye-Rin's eyes flickered, surprised. "You're not scared?" her mind asked. "I am," Ji-Eun said. "But I know my body." Hye-Rin nodded, mimicking Ji-Eun's steady breaths. Nearby, Dong-Hyun glared, his crystal skin dimming. "You won't last," he growled. Ji-Eun didn't answer. She focused on surviving. The air grew thinner. Aliens slumped, some fainting. Ji-Eun's legs felt heavy, but she stayed upright, her mind sharp. She noticed a vent high on the wall, sealed tight. Maybe a way out. She whispered to Tae-Soo, pointing. He nodded, ready to help. Hyarin watched, her mind voice soft. "You're different." Ji-eun didn't reply. She had to prove it, not say it. The chamber grew quiet, fear turning to despair. But Ji-eun's heart kept beating, strong and steady. Humans were built to break, she thought, but they were also built to keep going. She'd show them all. The sealed chamber in the Galactic Concord station felt like a trap. The air was heavy and the lights dimmed to a sickly yellow. Dr. Ji-eun Park stood near the wall, her jacket strip tied over her nose. Her heart pounded, but she kept her breathing slow. Tae-soo Kim, her aide, stayed close, his eyes darting around. The aliens, Varkath, Caesirans, and others, were struggling. Some slumped to the floor, gasping. The oxygen was fading fast, and the heat was rising. Ji-eun wiped sweat from her forehead. Her body was doing what it was built for, cooling itself. The Varkath, with their crystal skin, weren't so lucky. Their bodies gleamed, but cracks formed on their arms, tiny and sharp. Dong Hyun Choi, the Varkath scientist, leaned against a wall, his breathing loud and rough. The Caesirans, like Hirin Lee, curled up, their glowing eyes dull. Their telepathic minds buzzed with panic, making Ji-eun's head ache. She crouched by Hirin, who trembled. "Breathe with me." Ji-eun said, her voice calm. Hirin's eyes met hers, confused but trusting. "You're still strong," Hirin's mind whispered. Ji-eun nodded. "Humans are made for this." She tore another strip from her jacket and handed it to Hirin. "Cover your mouth. It helps." Hirin copied her, her shaking slowing. Tae-soo tugged Ji-eun's sleeve. "The vent," he whispered, pointing to the high wall. The sealed vent was their only hope, but it was too high to reach. Ji-eun's mind raced. She needed a plan. She looked at her jacket, now half gone, and the tablet Tae-soo carried. An idea sparked. "Tae-soo, give me the tablet case," she said. He handed it over, a thin metal shell. Ji-eun stuffed it with jacket scraps, making a rough filter. She tied it over her face, testing it. The air tasted cleaner, just a little. "Dong Hyun," Ji-eun called. The Varkath glared, his crystal skin dim. "Help us reach the vent. You're tall." He snorted, his voice weak. "Why should I trust a soft human?" Ji-eun held his gaze. "Because I'm still standing." He hesitated, then nodded too, tired to argue. Ji-eun turned to the others. "Everyone, stay low, use less air." Some listened, others were too weak. Hyerin relayed the words telepathically, her mind voice faint but clear. Ji-eun and Tae-soo pushed a table under the vent. Dong-hyun climbed up, his heavy steps shaking the table. Ji-eun followed, her muscles burning. The heat was worse up high, but she ignored it. Sweat dripped into her eyes, but she kept moving. Dong-hyun reached the vent and pried at it, his cracked fingers sparking. It wouldn't budge. "It's sealed tight," he growled. Ji-eun thought fast. She remembered human history. Miners, trapped in caves, surviving on scraps of air. "Tae-soo, your pen," she said. He tossed it up, a small metal tool. Ji-eun jammed it into the vent's edge, twisting hard. Her arms ached, but she didn't stop. Dong-hyun watched, surprised. "You don't give up," he muttered. Ji-eun didn't answer. She felt a click. The vent loosened just a bit, a faint hiss of air came through. Not enough, but something. Ji-eun's filter helped her breathe it while Dong-hyun coughed, his lungs too rigid. She passed the filter to him. "Try it," she said. He hesitated, then took it, his pride cracking like his skin. The air helped, and he nodded, grudgingly. Hirin's mind voice reached Ji-eun. "You think differently. Smart." Ji-eun smiled, faintly. "We have to." She looked around. The chamber was quieter now, aliens saving their strength. But Ji-eun noticed something odd, a faint hum from the walls, not mechanical. She tapped Tae-soo. "That sound. It's not the station." He listened, frowning. "Sabotage?" he whispered. Ji-eun's stomach twisted. Someone wanted them trapped. She glanced at Dong Hyun, who avoided her eyes. Was it the Varketh? She couldn't be sure, but she knew one thing. Humans were built to survive. She climbed down, her legs shaky but steady. We need to keep moving, she told Tae-Soo and Hyarin. There's a way out. The air grew thinner, the heat heavier. But Ji-eun's body kept going, her sweat and steady breaths her weapons. She wasn't just surviving, she was leading. Hyarin followed, her trust growing. Even Dong Hyun watched, his doubt fading. Ji-eun didn't care about their approval. She cared about getting everyone out alive. The hum in the walls grew louder, a clue to the trap. She'd find it and she'd break it. Humans always did. The air in the Galactic Concorde's hidden lab was cold and sharp. Dr. Ji-eun Park stood by a glowing console, her breath steady despite the danger. Tae-Soo Kim guarded the door, his eyes scanning the dark hall. Hye-Rin Lee, the siren, hovered nearby, her glowing eyes wide. They had escaped the sealed chamber. But the truth was worse. Someone had planned to trap them, and Ji-eun was sure it was Dong-Hyun Choi, the Varketh scientist. The lab was filled with strange machines and vials of glowing liquid. Ji-eun's heart raced as she studied a screen. It showed a bioweapon, designed to attack humans. The notes mocked her kind. Soft skin, weak lungs, need for sleep. They think we're easy to break, she whispered. Tae-Soo frowned. Who made this? Ji-eun pointed to a Varketh symbol on the screen. Dong-Hyun. He wants humans gone. Hye-Rin's mind voice hummed. He fears you. Your strength. Ji-eun nodded. She wasn't surprised. The Varketh ruled the Concorde with their crystal bodies, but humans were new, different. She tapped the console, digging deeper. The bioweapon was clever, targeting human blood and lungs. But Ji-eun saw a flaw. It underestimated human immune systems, how fast they fought back. An idea grew. Ji-eun was a biologist. She knew how bodies worked, not just human ones. She could turn this weapon against the Varketh. Their crystal lungs were strong but rigid, bad at handling change. She worked fast, her fingers flying over the console. Tae-Soo, watch the door, she said. Hye-Rin, help me think. Hye-Rin's mind linked with hers, sharing ideas. Can you change the weapon? She asked. Ji-eun nodded. I can make it hit Varketh instead. Tae-Soo looked worried. Is that right, using their weapon? Ji-eun paused, her hands still. He was right. A weapon was dangerous, even if it was fair. She thought of Earth, of humans surviving plagues, and wars. They didn't win by copying their enemies. They won by being smarter, kinder. No, she said. We'll expose Dong-Hyun, not fight like him. She kept working, but now her plan changed. She copied the bioweapons data to a small drive, proof of Dong-Hyun's plot. She also made a fake version of the weapon, harmless but convincing. It would scare the Varketh without hurting them. Hye-Rin's mind voice was soft. You're choosing peace. Ji-eun smiled. It's what humans do. We break, we heal, we find a better way. The lab door hissed. Dong-Hyun stepped in, his crystal skin gleaming. His eyes narrowed at Ji-eun. You shouldn't be here, he growled. Tae-Soo stepped forward, but Ji-eun raised a hand. We know what you did, she said, holding up the drive. This weapon was meant for us, but we're not as weak as you think. Dong-Hyun laughed, sharp and cold. You're soft, you sleep, you bleed. You'll never belong here. Ji-eun stayed calm. We survived worse than you can imagine. Plagues, wars, poison. Our bodies fight back. Yours? She held up the fake weapon vial, glowing faintly. Yours can't handle this. Dong-Hyun froze, his cracks glowing brighter. He didn't know the vial was fake. Hye-Rin's mind voice echoed to him, amplifying Ji-eun's words. She's right. Humans adapt. Dong-Hyun's confidence cracked. You wouldn't dare, he said, but his voice shook. Ji-un stepped closer. I don't want to. Tell the Concord what you did or I show them this. Tae-Soo whispered. Ji-un, he's dangerous. She nodded but didn't back down. She knew humans looked weak, but their strength was in their minds, their choices. Dong-hyun glared, then turned away. You'll regret this, he muttered, leaving the lab. Ji-un let out a breath, her hands shaking. She'd won for now. Hye-rin touched her arm. You're brave, different. Ji-un shrugged. I'm human. She tucked the drive in her pocket, the real proof safe. They had to get to the Concord's leaders, show them the truth. Tae-Soo checked the hall. It's clear. Let's move. Ji-un nodded, her heart steady. The lab's machines hummed, but she felt stronger than them. Dong-hyun thought humans were easy to break. He was wrong. They slipped into the dark hall, Hye-rin's glow lighting the way. Ji-un's plan was risky, but it was right. She wasn't just fighting for humans. She was fighting for trust, for peace. Her body, soft and fragile, was her weapon, and it was enough. The central chamber of the Galactic Concord station glowed with soft light, but the air was heavy with tension. Dr. Ji-un Park stood at the center, her gray suit torn but her face calm. Tae-Soo Kim stood beside her, clutching the data drive with proof of Dong-hyun Choi's sabotage. Hye-rin Lee, the siren, floated nearby, her glowing eyes steady. The chamber was packed with aliens, Varkath, Sirens, and others, watching Ji-un. They had called an emergency meeting and she was ready to show the truth. Ji-un held up the drive. Dong-hyun tried to destroy us, she said, her voice clear. He made a bioweapon to attack humans, to keep us out of the Concord. Whispers filled the room. Varkath shifted, their crystal skin sparkling. Dong-hyun stood among them, his face hard. Lies, he growled. Humans are weak. They don't belong. Ji-un didn't flinch. She plugged the drive into a console and a screen lit up. It showed Dong-hyun's lab, the bioweapons plans, and its target. Humans. The crowd gasped. A furry alien hissed, Treason! Hye-rin's mind voice echoed to everyone. The human speaks truth. Ji-un nodded to her, grateful. This weapon was meant to break us, she said, but humans don't break easily. Dong-hyun laughed, sharp and cold. You're soft. You bleed. You tire. You can't match us. The crowd murmured, some nodding. Ji-un saw doubt in their eyes. She had to prove humans were strong, not just with words. Let me show you, she said. She pulled a small knife from her pocket, one she'd found in the lab. The crowd went silent. Humans heal, she said. She pressed the knife to her arm and made a small cut. Blood dripped, red and bright. Aliens gasped, some turning away. Tae-Soo whispered, Ji-un, stop. But she shook her head. Watch, she told the crowd. She cleaned the cut with a cloth, then wrapped it tightly. In days, this will be gone. My body will fix itself, can yours? She looked at Dong-hyun, whose crystal skin couldn't heal like that. The crowd stared. Hye-rin's mind voice hummed. She's right. Humans recover. Ji-un stood tall, ignoring the sting in her arm. We're not just soft, she said. We adapt. We survive. She pointed to the screen. Dong-hyun thought he could stop us. He was wrong. A tall alien with scales stepped forward, its voice deep. Prove it again, it said. Take this. It held out a vial of pale liquid, a mild toxin. Ji-un's heart raced. She knew toxins, but this was risky. Tae-Soo grabbed her arm. Don't, he whispered. Ji-un met his eyes. I have to. She took the vial, her hands steady. For humans, she said, and drank it. The toxin burned her throat. Her stomach twisted, but she closed her eyes, breathing slow. She knew her body, her immune system, her adrenaline. She felt her pulse quicken, her blood fighting back. The crowd watched, silent. Dong-hyun smirked. She'll fall, he said. But Jiyeon didn't. She stood straight, her face calm. The burning faded. Her body was winning. Hye-rin's mind voice rang out. She resists. She's strong. The crowd gasped. The scaled alien nodded, impressed. Your kind is not weak, it said. Jiyeon wiped her mouth, her legs shaky, but her voice firm. We never were, she said. Dong-hyun's weapon failed, because he didn't understand us. The Varkath turned on Dong-hyun, their voices loud. Traitor, one shouted. Dong-hyun's cracks glowed bright, his pride broken. Guards moved toward him, their armor clanking. Jiyeon didn't smile. She didn't want revenge, only truth. She looked at the crowd. Humans want peace, she said. Let us join the conquered, not as enemies, but as equals. Hye-rin's mind shared Jiyeon's words, her telepathy reaching every alien. The crowd was quiet. Then a furry alien clapped. Others joined, their sounds filling the chamber. The scaled alien raised a claw. We vote, it said. Humans belong. Cheers erupted, loud and strange. Tae-soo grinned, squeezing Ji-eun's shoulder. You did it, he whispered. Ji-eun's arm stung, her throat still raw, but she felt strong. She'd shown them humans were soft, but they were tough. Dong-hyun was led away, his head low. Hye-rin floated close. You changed us, her mind said. Ji-eun shrugged. I just showed who we are. The chamber buzzed with hope, and Ji-eun knew. Humans had a place here earned by blood and grit. The red sun burned over Earth's first interstellar colony, a rocky planet where winds howled and plants barely grew. Dr. Ji-eun Park stood on a hill, her boots sinking into dusty soil. A year had passed since the Galactic conquered, and now she led this new home. Her gray suit was gone, replaced by a tough jacket stained with dirt. She smiled, watching humans below build houses and plant crops. They were thriving where other aliens had failed. Tae-soo Kim climbed the hill, his face sweaty but happy. The new greenhouse is done, he said. We'll have food soon. Ji-eun nodded. Humans could eat almost anything. Roots, leaves, even bugs. Other species needed special diets, but humans adapted. That was why this colony worked. The planet was harsh, but human bodies were tougher, their minds sharper. Down in the valley, children ran, laughing. Ji-eun watched Soo-jin Kang, a young girl with bright eyes. Soo-jin had survived a bad fall last week, her leg cut deep when a rock slid. Ji-eun had bandaged her, amazed at how fast the girl's blood clotted, how her pain didn't stop her smile. Now Soo-jin played like nothing had happened. Ji-eun's heart warmed. Humans were built to break, but they always healed. She remembered the Concord, her fight against Dong-hyun Choi. After she exposed his bioweapon, the aliens voted humans into the Concord. Hye-rin Lee, the Siren, had helped, sharing Ji-eun's words with her telepathic mind. Now the Sirens were allies. Their ships landed sometimes, bringing tools and ideas. Ji-eun saw one now, its silver shape gleaming. Hye-rin stepped out, her glowing eyes finding Ji-eun. You've done much, her mind voice said. Ji-eun shrugged. We're just starting. Even some Varkath had changed. After Dong-hyun's shame, a few came to the colony, curious. They asked about human healing, their crystal lungs too stiff to adapt. Ji-eun taught them, sharing biology like a gift. One Varkath, a young one named Min-soo Park, stayed to learn. He watched humans sleep, confused. You rest so much, he said once. Ji-eun laughed. Sleep makes us strong. Min-soo nodded, his cracks glowing softly. The colony buzzed with life. Humans worked late, their bodies tired but driven. They sang at night, their voices carrying over the rocks. Ji-eun loved that sound. It reminded her of Earth, of people coming together. Other species didn't bond like that. Sirens shared thoughts. Varkath stood alone, but humans held hands, laughed, cried. It made them unstoppable. A shout broke, her thoughts. Down the hill, a machine had tipped, trapping Soo-jin's arm. Ji-eun ran, Tae-soo behind her. The girl was pale, Her arm stuck under metal. "It hurts," Sujin whispered, but she didn't cry. Ji-un knelt, her voice calm. "You're tough. We'll get you out." Tae-soo and Min-soo lifted the machine, their muscles straining. Ji-un pulled Sujin free, checking her arm. It was bruised, maybe broken, but the girl's pulse was strong. Ji-un wrapped the arm, her hand steady. "You'll heal fast," she said. Sujin nodded, her eyes brave. Min-soo watched, amazed. "She's so small, but she doesn't give up," he said. Ji-un smiled. "That's human." Hyarin's mind voice joined them. "Your kind is special." Ji-un didn't argue. She saw it every day. Humans pushing past pain, building homes in a place that should have broken them. That night, the colony gathered around a fire. Sujin sat close, her arm in a sling but her smile wide. Tae-soo played a song on a small guitar and voices joined in. Ji-un stood at the edge looking at the stars. The galaxy was huge, full of dangers, but humans were ready. They'd earned their place, not with claws or armor, but with grit and heart. Hyarin floated beside her. "What's next?" her mind asked. Ji-un looked at the children, at Sujin, laughing. "We explore," she said. "We grow. We conquer." She thought of Earth's old saying, "We break, we heal, we conquer." It was true here, on this rough planet, and it would be true out there, among the stars. The fire crackled, the song rose, and Ji-un felt strong. The colony was small, but it was a start. Humans would spread, their bodies and spirits carrying them far. They were designed for this, not to rule, but to endure, to build, to live, and that was enough.